Oh, I didn't see you there. How's it?
Is still accelerating, and that 1 million cases of the virus have been reported. That's in just the last 8 days alone. It took the world 3 months to see its first 1 million.
Good morning, everyone. We thank you so much for joining us for Take Two.
Chris and Christine here. Time to break down the top stories of the day.
A water main break in East Oahu continues to affect residents.
On the big news, saying Kung Flu is racist, so don't say Kung Flu. They just ruined that whole Kung Flu fighting. It's just a great joke. But in Hawaii, the news for today, the water main broke. Meanwhile, 103 customers are without water.
814 of that, 146 are active and 651 have been cleared.
The spike in coronavirus cases in Hawaii continues with another day of cases. This morning with more is Lieutenant Governor and the state's COVID-19 liaison, Dr. Josh Green. Good morning to you, Lieutenant Governor. Thanks again for joining us.
Good morning.
Let's get right to the cases. We're seeing spikes. We're seeing some clusters. Can you attribute this to any single factor?
Yeah, it's mostly attributable to people being in close groups without masks on inside. And so we've had some cases where we, for instance, had that cluster at a church in Waipahu where a lot of individuals spent a significant amount of time together, and with just a couple people sick, it will get spread to everyone that's in the moment together. So that's where most of it's occurred. We have seen, of course, some fatigue on mask wearing. We see that outside sometimes in some of our large gatherings, but we also saw the cluster on Kauai where one individual in a family ended up infecting, this is very common, all the other individuals in the household. So it's been an amazingly low number as compared to what the mainland is experiencing, even when you try to make it apples to apples comparisons. But it's not something that I don't worry about. I certainly want us to all continue to wear masks and keep the numbers as low as we can.
So it's not Hawaii reopening too soon or Hawaii not reopening properly, it's just Hawaii residents letting their guards down.
Well, and in addition to that, we also are seeing some functional changes, like, for instance, opening up restaurants or small businesses. So there is more opportunity for people to be face-to-face. Actually, I think people have done extraordinarily well overall at restaurants. There have been a few moments where I've peeked into an institution or two, a restaurant or a bar or an office, and I can see that people are hugging and kissing as they welcome each other back to semi-normalcy. And that, you know, it's expected. It's with human nature to embrace those that we've missed. But for the most part, it's amazing that there hasn't been more in the way of spread. So just I would remind everybody, if you're indoors and you're with people that aren't your family, you should definitely be wearing a mask. That's critical because social distancing and wearing masks are the best two things we got going.
Having said that, do you believe that we should safely remain on track in terms of opening up the state to the rest of the nation?
If we do it safely, if we do it with absolute certainty that we're going to reduce all of the cases that we can, if we provide for a test to decrease the risk so people come in here negative, if we do all that the Department of Health has been recommending, which is very thorough tracing and tracking, we should continue to beef that up. Also temperature screening and thermal scanners. If we do all those things, we will do fine. Because at some point, travelers will return. But if we do it as safely as possible and we do it with the people's health at top of mind, we'll be fine.
You had a lot of ifs in there, so are we planning to do that, and is the timeline still the same?
So I defer completely to the governor. Announcements will come quite soon, maybe even sooner than you can imagine. And, he's asked me to work hard on this kind of an issue, and a lot of other people across the state. I would say this, we will not take any chances. And as things explode on the mainland, the governor will always have the prerogative to pump the brakes a little bit, because as you reported just a moment ago, internationally we saw 1 million cases in the last 8 days. Hawaii has done extremely well because of the sacrifice of our people. But just because we succeeded in phase 1 doesn't mean that phase 2 couldn't overwhelm us. So I've got reams and reams of plans to make sure that we do a good job, but I defer to the governor to make the announcements and set the timetable, of course.
All right. Thank you so much, Lieutenant Governor Josh Green, for joining us. And of course,
How's it? Hang loose. I was just having a little camera trouble. I put my my little camera back into the bag of rice because my fault. It's an underwater camera to a degree, but I squirted it with a hose, and some of its seals are, after it's a good camera though. I might do a little review on that. But I wasn't going to do any newspaper. But now, newspaper time. Today's headline: travel testing in works. Yay! For a lot of people. Is Hawaii reopened to travelers from outside? No. It's still 14-day quarantine. But they got testing in the works. Now, I got mixed feelings, but it's a start. They're being pushed politically and economically. Whenever you think of politics, think of money. Political, economy. Economy, political. Happens all the time. So, this is what this says. Ah! Good Lord. Okay. Governor David Ige. Now he's the guy calling the shots. Administration. Well, his Take two. Governor Inge's administration is poised to adopt COVID-19, that's the plague, testing protocol similar to the one being used in Alaska. Yeah! I had so many Alaskan friends. Alaskans are go. And is expected to announce as early as this week. At least some travelers will be allowed to bypass Hawaii's 2-week quarantine requirement this summer. Coming to summertime. If they provide, here's the kicker, proof of recent negative test, no virus, for the new coronavirus, which is the plague. So they're gonna allow testing, and then testing, if you get negative, hey man, you might be able to bypass the 14-day quarantine. The 14-day quarantine, it says here too, requirement has helped Hawaii with its great numbers. And last week, there's been an uptick. Numbers went cat. There is so it made a tick sound. But the quarantine has shut down the state's enormous visitor industry. Enormous visitor industry. They don't like. I guess visitor is better than tourist. They touch you with the words. Everybody was kung flu fighting, kung flu fight. I like that song though. I like that song, and I think they should have an exception for that racist thing. Kung flu is racist. Screw Washington D.C. Up theirs. Uptick theirs. It's a human virus. Obviously, it affects human beings, but they're not talking about Kung flu virus should be allowed. Wuhan virus, no. So much as because they're throwing blame around, like speak loudly and carry a big stick, and they're just trying to look good because they want to get licked. I digress. Sorry for that editorial. Wait a minute, this whole thing is an editorial. Possibility of a major chain of pharmacies, like the ones you'll know if you're here, or I don't want to. There are. I and giving upticks to big box chains. Long's Drugs could offer, well, that's a local store. They could offer the tests at more than 1,000 outlets across the nation. CVS and Long, I should say that because it's PSA. Public. Stupid. Okay. CVS Pharmacy, Long's Drugs, could offer these tests over 1,000 outlets across the nation. So they're looking at, hey, they're trying to figure out how to reopen Hawaii, but reopen Hawaii in a smart Akamai way, right? Akamai is smart. Akamai, eh? See, because when you look at, oh my God, these targets, one day it was 1,803,000 people got this virus in one day. And they're announcing this stuff on the news. Big time news station. What the heck is this? Never mind. Oh, New Yorkers are under. You know, even my mom said earlier, she was talking to my brother on the phone. You know, she don't talk like that, but whatever. You know, she'll talk. My mom said, according to mom, this virus isn't going away. She reads a lot of news, so it said here, I don't know. Virus isn't fading. Health experts say. Always listen to the experts. Take the politicians, you know, listen to the health experts, please. It's a human virus. It don't care what race, creed. It'll get you. I mean, some people are more susceptible, and then they're like playing that card, and holy crap, it goes right back into politics. Stay in science. Political science. Took a lot of part 2 of this article. They mentioned the President Trump rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Wasn't that the center of the story of the Watchmen series? The new Watchmen? Old Watchmen? Yeah. Who's watching the Watchmen? Okay, President Trump asked, slow down the testing. What the fuck? Why? The thing ain't gonna fade away, like he says. It's not gonna just go away. And if people keep it alive, it will be the virulency is and the more people do that, and they're talking and they're hugging, oh, happy graduation, happy graduation. Political rally, there was high five. Oh, my political party is better. My political party is better, bigger than your political party. Experts are going, inevitably, increased number of confirmed corona cases. Look, that means that someone already has it, but they don't know it. And if they get tested, they get one click or tick on the ticker. So if one person doesn't get tested, but they have it, they can spread it exponentially. 1 people, 3 people, 3 people to 9 people, and those 9 people, it's like 27, add that all up, that's exponential stuff. This is called the virulency. It's the transfer of it. And you get people in these groups. They could be one person who hasn't gotten tested but has it. They don't know it, but they're spreading it. Call it carrier. You know all this stuff. You must have seen so much news. Who hasn't? Like, be happy. I was 60. Yeah, we need big doses of that. and solid thinking. You got to be thinking about. So they're saying that if you slow down the testing, you might forget about it. People going around carrying it around. But if you increase the testing, then you're going to have confirmed cases. So the numbers will uptick. It's not the testing that gives you the virus. It's the virus that gives you the virus. Kitties. It is good news to get tested. It is good news to know Akamai. Because, man, if I got that thing, I would want to know. Almost thought I had a sore throat, and I started to freak. Now, I'm not just being germaphobe or phobic. We should be a little bit germaphobic because we need to be vigilant about this. So, this is obvious as obvious can be, so forgive me for reiterating. However, the good news is they're going to implement an Alaskan-based protocol, and the announcement of that is coming soon, so that will open one more door closer to reopening, but we're not reopened now. Yay! Stay away! Get away from my backyard! No, people are getting scared, and they don't want to die. And some of this thing, it has a percentage of a death rate. The world passed 9 million cases of this particular virus. 9 million. So, in the future, if I'm still able to blog or vlog or whatever you call it, something like this, I might be talking to you about my opinions and advice about the zombie apocalypse. And there might be some people out there hearing this, and there might not be, there could be, and there might could, but 9 million people. So, wear your masks, wash your hands, keep the good distance, and hang loose. Find some projects, man. I'm looking at, find some projects, make you happy. Hang loose.